Yo, what's up guys? Let's talk about countering the Water Gandalf. Very common unit nowadays, especially in somewhat lower ranks. In Punisher, it's already 54 win rate. It's crazy high. So how do you actually counter that? So on this website, Luxec.gg, you can actually check a bunch of the numbers over there. And we do see a few things over here, such as Bolverk, that is definitely a high pick rate against it and is doing decent to okay-ish. But a lot of the other units aren't really doing too well, and it's also a lot of premium LD units. So if we switch that to Guardian, let's see what Guardian players do play against it. Okay, we don't have as many matches in, so let's lower this number over here. Shizuka, Gianna, those kind of things. We're actually going to go to Valajules and Twins. Interesting to see. Bolverk. But if we go to Guardian 3, there's actually a very interesting unit in there. But we definitely have to lower the numbers over here by a fair bit. I think 200. Is 200 a decent number? Yeah, okay, that's more of a decent number. You see one unit in there, and that's a fire unit. Fire Legolas is supposedly having a good win rate against Water Gandalf. How does that make any sense? Well, the thing is, Fire Legolas is not targeting the Water Gandalf. It's targeting everything next to the Water Gandalf and stealing the buffs from the Water Gandalf and therefore giving the protection to himself with shields and giving the protection to himself with the reflect damage, which actually makes him pretty strong. Plus, he can lock down the other units next to it as well. Which, if we check all of the units over here, it does seem like something that might have some potential, because Ella is mostly paired with Irene, and then the Irene-Ella combination is maybe the thing that counts it. Shizuka is also probably based on nuking style, so you nuke something with it. Same for the Kovachi. Well, Gianna is Gianna, Yan Hong is Yan Hong. Probably also more a nuking style of base. And then we also get like the other units that are kind of trying to counter it, and doing sometimes decent jobs, sometimes not really. But let's zoom in into the Fire Legolas. How should he be built, and how does that work? Well, we can also tap on the unit over here. Overall, his win rate is definitely not high. 47.7 is absolutely not a high win rate. But having 55 win rate against the Gandalf, which we can see over here, is really nice though. So what are the stats that we do get highest win rate on? Well, there's two different builds: Fire Will or Swift Revenge. And then also you have a bunch of options. Do you go crit rate or do you go just additional damage style? Well, I would say the most common build is probably speed, HP, HP, or speed, HP, attack. Would not really recommend to go for crit rate. Crit rate only helps you if you are always landing on death breaks, which he's probably not doing. And I kind of like myself on Swift Revenge over Violent Will as well. And why is that? Well, this is currently my build. First of all, on Swift Revenge, it is super easy to build because you having like a 200 to 210 speed Swift set left over, or maybe if you're a little bit in lower ranks, minus 10 or minus 20 the speed, but you will have this kind of set left over of just like a random bunch of bruiser runes with like, okay, they have kind of the stats for speed, but not enough stats where you can actually like speed contest with it fully. These kind of runes work very well on him, plus having some flat HPs on that also helps out to get extra stats in. Actually, I have flat HP on a lot of these runes over here, or a decent bit of these runes over there. And then for artifacts, you do need good artifacts for this one to make it work. If you don't have good artifacts for him, do not try him out, because his main damage is going to come from artifacts. So you want to have additional damage by speed, additional damage by attack. Those are the main two lines. Additional damage by HP is nice because you're going to have high HP. But since you're giving yourself attack buff and speed buff on the S2, it is very strong to get that extra damage in there. However, it's still a hard unit to make it use against the Water Gandalf, because you're ending yourself up in a very heavy bruiser matchup. And in that heavy bruiser matchup, it is very likely for you to face a Josephine. And Josephine will try to hard lock you down, which could definitely be a bit of an issue. But then again, if you have good artifacts, you can have some good matches out there. I did play him a bunch of times. I had some good success with him, some bad success with him. But maybe it gives you an idea of like, hey, should you rebuild this slightly different and maybe give him a try yourself to counter the Water Gandalf with that? Because I used him a little bit to counter other things with buffs, but mainly the Water Gandalf. Issue is, once again, he does not like to face Josephine. I want to check, what is his matchup against Josephine? He's actually 50-50 against the Josephine. I'm surprised about that. What is he doing bad against? Yeah, okay, so no, wait, that's the things he's doing good against. So mainly the things with buffs he's doing good against. Sonya apparently is also doing good against. Kind of makes sense. Yeah, the moment you're starting fighting like a Sierra Gianna, that's the things, or Oliver's even. Erishion is not really his kind of cup of tea. So there's a few things that you should not be using him against, but he has a decent matchup against some others. But in general sense, he's not super high on the win rate, and the big issue is that he's inconsistent. If his skill 1 lands 2 times, you have the possibility for a 30 absorb. However, if you land 5 times, you can absorb for 75. That is insanely high. So that is really a big gap. Also, in general sense, why Swift over Vio? You want to be faster than the enemy, so you always keep lapping whether you absorb that much or not. And with Vio, it might be a little bit harder to do. Vio is better to proc out of a stun and then make it work from there. But let's just see in some of the matches how that did work out for me. For the first match, he starts off with a Wind Monkey. He mostly likes to pair the Gandalf with a Josephine. So I picked the Josephine, I stole the Hey Gang. Also, on top of that, he does have a few counters which are good against shields, such as the Light Hua rank. So therefore, I'm not picking a steal of the Gandalf myself, because I think he plays pretty well into the Gandalf. He gets 2 attack bar increases, therefore the Tian Lang, and then we also have this unit to counter the buffs of this unit right there. Then he finishes off the draft with this, which means that the Demon is pretty good. I kind of expected the Demon to be banned or the Tian Lang to be banned, and he bans either one of those two, and then we can go into seeing how this Bruiser matchup does work and this Legolas does work. Legolas does also have a 38 lead on HP, which is kind of nice. So this is mainly the idea of trying to get damage in. I get a good additional turn there at first. The Raccoon S2 doesn't help us much. Good stun over there as well. I'm proccing heavy on this one. Actually, a previous match that's no longer into this one, or that's no longer in my list, he had like 4 procs versus my 8, which was one of those kind of guys. it sometimes happens, but so far so good. We're kind of just lapping units, we're pushing them back, that kind of good stuff. The S1 of the Inosuke on the left is inconsistent as well, so that's kind of nice. I'm stealing all of those buffs. I'm getting enough speeds in to continuously keep lapping. I don't have a speed lead in this case, but I'm still decently fast enough. I would like to see the unit, what's it called? The Fire Legolas a little bit faster. Because if it was just a little bit faster, I would have lapped more while not having a speed buff and not having the speed lead. So those kind of things are kind of nice. So this is the kind of position where you could do a lot of damage, but you only get 2 hits in. If I were to get 5 hits in on that death break right there, he kills. So that's kind of the big issue with this unit. Like, if he had the multiple hits over there, he would have done simply just so much more damage. Tian Lang is also just really kind of eating the reflect damage over here. Renuki on the proc. We do get our death breaks in once again, get a proc back. So this case, once again, if we get 2 shots, he doesn't kill. If he gets 3 or more, he does kill. So he's definitely the fair bit of RNG in that unit itself, right? So from here, it's just kind of a bruiser matchup, trying to hit everything on the monkey and trying to just whittle him down. Reflect damage is pretty high, but my Josephine is on speed, HP to get extra shields in. And I'm pretty much just using the monkey to give me shields. So I'm just hitting something else on purpose for monkey please counter me, monkey please stun me, just to get myself extra shields in, because his shields are actually really nasty right there. As you can see over there, like this steel leg is nearly killing itself on the shields. But on the death break, once again, double hit on that thing. I would really like to see this unit get a guaranteed triple hit and then lower rates for the 4 and 5 hits. I think that would really make this unit very good. Because right now, he's to the point where he's usable-ish in the right scenario. He's very good if you RNG hard, but he's not that great if you don't get the right RNG in. That's just kind of his issue. And from here, you would say pretty easy cleanup. Actually, the 2 of them still gave me a little bit more of a struggle. We're at 60 up and 60 down, which is kind of the moment where even the Josephine starts hitting like half HP. This thing on the right side starts hitting like half HP if it does like 5 hits. But if it just does 2 hits, still not that much. But also the Raccoon starts hitting a good amount. So that's just the annoying thing on these kind of bruiser fights. Like, is this really a playstyle that you might enjoy? I don't know. But hey, if you want to be winning against those Gandalfs, he might be the one unit you want to be picking up yourself. 70 up, 70 down, and that's where everything starts dealing an insane amount of damage, pretty much. So that's where you can actually take things out. But once again, I would like to see him on like a guaranteed 3 hits and then way lower chance for the 4th and 5th. I played against the same guy again, so let's look how that matchup looks this time. And yeah, I have to play degen shit because he pretty much forces me to play degen shit. I do have an Ethna in this case, which is a Despair Ethna. And Despair Ethna is actually pretty solid against this. So he gets for a stun on that first rotation right there. That is fine. I do have the Josephine in this case. Do not get the strip over there, which is kind of unfortunate, but that is fine. We do get our strip over there, which is still good. Chow does go through shields, which is actually pretty good against Josephine. So we do get a few Despairs in over there. This Etna is actually built mainly on tanky stats. So we do take that out. Unfortunately, did not get the stun over there. Then we go for pushbacks. I actually kind of want to see how many pushbacks did I land. So we did get one resistance. So because of the resistance, we did nam him more than we actually decreased, which kind of does suck. Yeah, I think we just landed 2. Or no, wait, we landed 1. And we got not landing on 2. Which means he will get his bar in pretty quickly. That thing moves, takes the additional turn, takes it out because of that. This thing is pretty tanky, but yep, that's right there. Can we stun it? If we do stun it and then push this back, that is really nice. So I'm still in a position right now to be winning until that thing proc. So if we did not have that proc on that one over there, I think we would have had a pretty good match at it. But it was still a little bit like, does he land enough on the S1s or not? If he had a few extra hits here and there, it would have been a way better match, right? Then over here, definitely a different style of play. It was more of like a pick of like, I'm actually not really sure what I'm doing, but I'm just sending this thing in, let's go. So in this case, Sonya does kill that. And then we have a bruiser matchup from here, which means that you have a difficulty on hitting on that in most cases. But, and the Okeanos, I would probably kind of start lapping if I'm not slowed. So that was kind of the idea. I just wanted to have a fire unit. In the end, I would say that a Meo Wang would have probably done a way better job at this, but he's still kind of an option over here. So we do get a 5-shot over there. And that just shows the fucking strength of a 5-shot. Like, if you get those 5 shots off, you deny so much turns. 5-shot into, I think, 3-shot over there. We do once again get a slow from off element, but from here the match is already over. So that kind of just shows like he's not really in the best position right there. But it shows the potential. What if he gets 5 shots off? It just does so much damage. Then we also have a match against El Mimo, the most common spammer for the Gandalf plus all of his LDs pretty much. Also pairing it with a Josephine in this case, which makes it a little bit more rough. So in this case, do get a few pushbacks over there. But we could not really do anything outside of that too much. He does have high resistance on his units, which is definitely a little bit of an issue because my monkey, it is just on like 27-ish accuracy. He does get a perfect strip over there, which kind of unfortunate. Additional turner on that thing over there, resistant from that unit. We do get a stun, but we only get the 1 stun on the 1 unit you don't want. It's one of those days, right? It's one of those days. But we do get a good stun rotation in here, which is really nice. And from here, we can actually start working on things. We did not strip a single thing on that, which is kind of unfortunate. It is also one of those things. This unit needs to have buffs to actually start stripping. So that is one of those things that is a little bit unfortunate. We nearly take out this unit on the death break. If we had the additional turn over there, we would have actually taken it out 1 turn earlier. And we would have been able to start shooting at that already. But we didn't get it at that case. That is why Revenge is kind of funny. It actually did do a good bit of hits, but then he starts proccing on his units, and that's where he also gets a perfect one on that. We do get a resist over there. If it was actually a land over there, we would have probably been able to kill that, and then we would have had a fine match against the other two. But from this point on, he starts proccing again, and the Gandalf is just being an annoying Zok. So yeah, is he technically really good against the Gandalf? I can see his potential against the Gandalf, but if the Gandalf moves that many times, it is difficult, especially because of the Josephine lockdown. Oh, we have a very good matchup over here from Pafix against one of the guys from 10, like could be Blue Will 10 or Takuzo 10, or well, it's not Takuzo 10, but I'm not too sure with all of these names. Does actually pair it up with a team up, which is pretty nice. I'm curious to see like how this would work out. So we do already know who's going to win this, but I kind of want to see if it is a Legolas style of win. So we do have the team up. Also, the other 2 units are pretty strong for team ups as well. Especially because your team up comes in super late. So you have a death break potential right there. S2 is probably not going to be landing on that. It actually doesn't land jack shite at all. So far, not really a Legolas match. But now the Legolas can go hard on the Zeratu. Few pushbacks. Does not get any turns in. We'll go for the S2. But that's also the thing. You can steal these things from a Zeratu. So against the Zeratu, you actually have pretty good play as well. It's like, okay, you had buffs, cool. Now I have 2-turn immunity and 2-turn everything. That's definitely a nice one. So it's not necessarily a victory against a Gandalf as much as it is a victory against like just having a lot of buffs on the enemy team. And I think that's mainly kind of his playstyle where he's fitting well. But yeah, it's still kind of rough to put him in there because of, like, sure, the 5 hits, he's really cool at all. 5 hits, he does a lot of work if he does not, like, glance half of the shit. But yeah, that's, like, if he would always do that, I would play him a lot. Like, I would throw way better runes at him. I kind of am thinking of right now of how much speed I want to put on him, but I think somewhere around like plus 215 is probably like 210, 215 is what I would be aiming for in G3. Otherwise, he's just not gonna lap enough. So this is where we will see a lose. And I kind of want to see like how bad that is, because in the end, against water units, he's not that great. Also, in this case, against a Bolverk, he's also really bad, actually. So pretty sure that this is a Swift version as well. But he will give stacks to the Bolverk like no tomorrow, because you start stealing things and that's full stack every freaking time. So I think he is having more issues against Bolverk than he is having issues against the rest of the team in this case. Okay, tries to Oblivion. Ooh, missed the Oblivion. Okay, does land it in the second try. That is not too bad. Desarian also always has such a difficult job, man. He's really trying to do things. Oh, Ditmas, the one over there on the Bolverk. So Bolverk will go for another bit of healing. Goes for pushbacks. Ah, gets stunned off element. That is rough. That is rough. If he did not get the stun off element there, I think he could have had a decent match at it. Did not get the stun over there, but yeah, then still 13k healing. That's a lot. Extends the Oblivion. Yep. Goes for the Oblivion on that one. I think you should have maybe put the Oblivion on you instead. Is good damage. Still managed to get a stun in. Heals the stun off, but we also got rid of the Oblivion on you already. Therefore, I would say the Oblivion on you would have been more annoying. Like, you mainly want to put Oblivions on cleansers. Cleansers are way more annoying than damage dealers in this case. Using it into the Twin Angels. Twin Angels provide a lot of buffs as well. So is it any good into that? Let's see. It's going to be an interesting matchup as well. Layla's gone. Twin Angel over there is gone. So you have a lot of potential to steal buffs from a lot of things. So let's see how that does work out. It is Swift. Seemingly it is Will, I guess. Do get our hits in early over there. We do get a protection in over there. You do have still the S3. Enemy side is not showing that much damage. Wait, did he just simply miss all of that? Did he just get full resisted over there? Yeah, that's also one option. So, yeah, from that point, it's kind of hard. But in most cases, you definitely want to build him tanky. Does get a little bit of barb. Does get a lot of multi-hits. Yeah, that's seemingly what it seems to be like. The moment he gets like 3 or more hits, he's very strong every time. The time he doesn't do that, he's kind of weak. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think about him as a counter to the Water Gandalf. I think it kind of makes sense, but he still definitely has a little bit of an issue of doing it. In all honesty, it's just kind of not the craziest of best units. But then also a question. How would you counter the Water Gandalf? How do you like to play against Water Gandalf? For me personally, I definitely still like to go for outspeeding it and not giving it any turns. But that is sometimes very difficult with the sheer amount of passives that's out there for people just drafting like Wind Monkeys, Megumis, and that kind of stuff with this thing and then Josephine. That's kind of the point where you're like, yeah, I can't really turn one this stuff. I kind of have to turn to it. And then when I turn to it, I kind of tend to go into the Lego. But maybe you guys have some crazy 5-hat ideas as well. Guys, thanks a lot for watching for this one. See you as always in the next one. Thanks for watching. If you would like to see more guides, join the Discord and check out the content tab for the guide video archive, which contains all of the guides that you might need. Hope to see you there.